hello and welcome to Deeper Shopping. We are here in Denver, Colorado at the International Christian Retailer Show, and today we are thrilled to have just fabulous guests, Buzz Dixon and Marlon Schulman. I almost wrecked your name right then. I was going to say Real Buzz, but from Real Buzz Studio.
We've both been called worse.
Okay,
We've been far worse.
All right, well then we'll just get through that. But anyway, we're just excited to have you guys here, and we're going to be talking about a new series that you have launched called Serenity.
Yes.
And before we get into that, I know that this is the type of illustration, the type of book that it is manga.
Correct.
I want you to explain that, because I've had so many people question me, what is that? And they've butchered the mango.
Yeah.
Explain what that is so that our viewers can understand that.
Absolutely. Manga is the Japanese word for comics. It literally means random pictures. And specifically in terms of style, as you can see here, it has large expressive eyes because the focus of manga is more on the emotions and the personal relationships in the story as opposed to just the action.
Right.
So even the way it's set up on the pages, where you have repeated frames sometimes, or close-ups, sometimes you even have little figures called chibi going on in the background, revealing the person's
Kind of
emotions.
their thoughts, right,
Exactly.
right. And I think it's such a unique medium. Now, I know both of you have worked in this vehicle, in this style, for a long time. And Marlon, you are sort of responsible for bringing this over into the United States. Well, kind of
we're overstating the case a bit.
But a big hunk of it.
But some years ago, when I was working for Orion Pictures, I was heavily involved, let's leave it at that, in bringing anime, which is the process of Japanese animation using manga pictures, into the more of the mainstream. We brought it into Blockbuster for the first time, etc. Then I worked for Bandai Entertainment and created the first vertically integrated video distribution company on the web, which was a breakthrough, and we brought in a lot of anime at that time, which was groundbreaking and a lot of fun. But talking about experience, Buzz has been involved in TV and films for years.
I was going to say share a little bit, because really combined, you guys, this is just, you guys really are a culmination of kind of bringing all of this together with your experience. But share a little bit of the comic book background.
I have worked in animation, in comics, in feature films, in video games. Some of the animated series I worked on were G.I. Joe, Transformers, My Little Pony, which I know is Marlon's personal favorite.
It was mine too.
Gem. Video games that I worked on most recently, I wrote the script for the Terminator 3 video game. Feature films, tons of stuff, including comics. And I was brought into comics by Steve Gerber back in the late 70s, early 80s. In fact, my very first comic story was illustrated by Jack Kirby. So that really big, important stuff. And over the years, I've worked with some of the best people, including Stan Lee. And Stan is kind of one of the points of origin of Serenity and what we're doing. So,
well, Buzz was the Vice President of Creative Affairs.
Well, I was going to say, now, tell us a little bit how that worked out. Because of your faith, that sort of, you've got the Christian marketplace, so they're kind of seeing the need for this.
Stan's company at that time was doing a wide variety of projects, and someone outside of the company suggested, you ought to do a Christian comic. Well, Stan looked around the company, and the only identifiable Christian was me.
By default, you are the man.
I'm the man. So he asked me to develop this comic. Now, Stan, of course, made his bread and butter and fame and fortune with superheroes. So he was expecting the equivalent of Spiderman's at home reading his Bible, the Green Goblin show up and they fight. And as I began doing my market research, I realized that was not what the Christian marketplace was looking for. And as I continued my market research, I realized at that time, this was about 6 or 7 years ago, there was a dearth of comics and material for tween to teen girls. For a wide variety of reasons, by 1975, American comics were virtually exclusively superheroes for boys. Yes, the Archie line was out there, but that was the only thing that appealed even a little bit to girls. Exactly.
Nobody really, no.
Well, that was it. But
that was it.
That was the sole thing.
Right.
And so I recognized we needed to develop concepts that would appeal to this underserved tween to teen girl market.
Right.
Well, long story short, Stan was, looking for a superhero, and when I didn't bring a superhero back, we had an amicable parting of the ways. I was given an option of stock in the company or Serenity as my severance package, and I picked Serenity.
Yeah,
so,
let's talk about this, because
absolutely.
I really, having a daughter, I love the fact that you have chosen the primary character of this series as a girl. And the struggles and the things that she's going on in her life, and you guys don't sugarcoat it. And like you said, talking about the types of illustrations, and I'm going to hold this up for the camera, but this style of illustration, and we were talking about this earlier before we were going live to tape, but that there's so much expression.
Yes.
There isn't the need for a lot of words. Their expressions really say it all, and that's kind of the joy of this manga type of illustration, that the expressions, the emotions are really visual, so you don't have to be a real fabulous reader, and that's what I think is so great is kids today, they want something fast.
Although this was aimed at the, and still is aimed at the tween-age girl market, we're finding more and more letters coming in from parents, from grandparents, and from kids.
Boys, too.
And boys, saying that at a much younger age as well as enjoying it, because it really isn't difficult to read, and because the emotional pictures are there, which speak a thousand words, they're getting through the stories and they're getting it.
Right, they do. Kids really, I think as humans we all kind of relate to an emotion. We identify certain images as the emotion, certain face, characteristics as emotion.
Well, what we wanted to do very specifically with Serenity is make sure that we didn't have a series that preached down to kids.
Right.
This is a series that talks about problems that teenagers and teenagers encounter in everyday life, in the real world, and how they look at these problems and can solve these problems through their own examination and through their own thoughts and actions.
Right, and actually, and at their level, through how they would handle it. Not how their mom and dad would come in and handle it, or not how a parent should think they have. But what I love about this as well is that you don't preach. It really is almost avoiding the preach. It's through the circumstances that she's facing and that conflict that comes. And I know, and I'm not sure if it was the first one, but my daughter was reading it and I had picked it up, and it was when she had stolen the money.
Yes, that's volume one.
Is that volume one?
Yes.
Okay. But we read 4 of them, so now I've got them confused. But in volume 1, and it's the fact that she had gone to the youth group. She sort of had made that decision to go to the youth group. And it wasn't, this whole preachy thing. But then later in the story, how she resolves that little, that little morality chip clicked in and went, is this good or bad? I can make this decision.
And that happens throughout the series.
Yeah, it just they're prompts. They give you, it's like these guidelines, but it's not forcing. And then you guys didn't make her, this picture perfect,
No, who wants?
You really, you want the bad girl.
Look, if you want a perfect girl, there's Supergirl. Go read that one.
Barbie.
And Barbie,
But then, what we've done is each volume has various plot points that are resolved in each volume.
Right.
But yet there are outstanding overarching themes and relationships that occur. Eddie may have 1 or 2 lines in one of the volumes, and then he becomes a very primary character later on. So it really is a sort of teenage soap opera that goes on. And although we actually got a couple of complaints saying that, well, why didn't she find Christ in volume 1? Well, that's why there's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 in the corner.
Make a really boring series, and then we watch her completely keep sinning. No, but I appreciate that, because you really do want, I think, the message to be portrayed as this is real life, and it doesn't happen instantaneous. If it did, everyone would be saved.
Exactly.
Probably 100 times over.
This isn't a 22-minute sitcom on television where you meet somebody, there's a problem, it's resolved, and that's it, and there's commercials in between.
So if anybody watching would like to make a 22-minute sitcom, we can. We're there. Come on.
All right, you guys, back on it. No, but it's true though, because it isn't a sitcom life, and high school is not. It's 4 years of ongoing junior high, all the way to high school. Those are the years that really. The only thing that shapes your life is the perception of your friends, of the media, what people are telling you. Your parents sort of rank way down here on this.
Well, the rank, it's interesting, and I don't know if maybe this is just commonplace, but as one goes through higher grades, almost in direct proportion, seemingly, the influence of your parents sort of drops with the age.
Right.
As the grade goes up, the parents go down. You're more and more independent. You're more and more.
Right.
And that's the purpose of life, launching kids into life.
Right.
And we're at a very important part in the Serenity's life where she's being launched into life.
Right.
And I'd like to bring out that our cast of characters surrounding Serenity are not squeaky clean characters.
Right. I was going to say that too. They are typical.
Exactly. They're very typical kids. For example, Kimberly, who is Serenity's rival in the series, she's a preacher's kid. So you expect, well, she's got to be squeaky clean, she's got to be holy and whatnot.
Completely
no,
dysfunctional.
she's got a lot of
said
issues
that.
she's dealing with. She's got things that she's got to overcome.
Right.
And in fact, she has almost an interesting counterpoint, because as Serenity is learning to be better, Kimberly is having to fight against the temptation to take shortcuts.
Right, to compromise and just
Exactly.
say, yeah, this isn't all what it's supposed to be cut up to be.
Exactly.
And yeah, and I know, and kind of towards the end, and I don't want to spoil anything in the books, but I noticed one of her comments was like, oh, she wants a fight, she's got one, fighting over the boyfriend.
Exactly.
And I thought, yeah, Christianity aside, that is a very typical teenage girl response.
Well,
it's like, don't mess with me.
Serenity at the outset stays with the prayer club, not because she feels the word of God or hears the word.
Right.
She wants to get Kimberly out of the way because she's after her boyfriend.
Right, she wants the boyfriend.
That's what it's about.
She states her motive. She's pretty clear about what she wants.
Yeah.
But I like that, though, because it really is. It's real life. It's reflective.
Exactly.
And, you try to portray kids as perfect. They don't know what standard they're supposed to live up to. And they don't know then, there's, that moral compass can't be set. Because if the standard's already up here, and they're all the way, doing things that go down here, where's, it's like it's so far away to get up here. But the fact that this character,
which is why the choice was made, very early, to do it in this style of art, because in this style, although adults may not get it, or they may not, they don't have to. The story is there, the message is there, and the form of the message, the art of the manga, is what kids get. It's they don't think of it even as manga; they think of it as, oh yeah, that's
cool story.
That stuff.
Right, exactly. Well, and I'm seeing more and more of this style, this vehicle and medium kind of coming out. A lot of promotional materials I'm starting to see in comic book format.
Yes.
And it's really starting to, get into, I should say, the mass market media. People are starting to see it in the mainstream.
Well, manga, if I may, graphic novels and manga have doubled in circulation over the last 4 years. Double figures, and 20% or over have grown in sales over the last 4 years. It's only in the Christian community that it hasn't grown, because in fact we have created the genre of Christian manga. So we're very proud of that. We proudly state America's premier inspirational manga.
Well, absolutely. You guys, like I said, pointed out earlier, you guys are sort of the cumulative, you are the experts in this industry, and the fact that you both are Christian, and that, for a time, this timing
here's an interesting
now.
point.
Here's an interesting point.
I'm actually Jewish.
Well,
and the reason I was drawn to these series is that it's not evangelical, it's moral, it's inspirational. It talks about values that we all need to share, and that we all aspire to. If everyone reached the values that we talk about in these books, I'm a happy camper. And the scripts go through Buzz, the scripts go through me, and there isn't a word I wouldn't stand behind in any of these books. And it's terrific.
Serenity's story specifically is about a particular girl's struggle to find faith and meaning in today's world. But we're doing 2 new series that are coming out next year. One is called Hits and Misses, which is about a girl's fast-pitch softball team. Another one's called Goofy Foot Girl, which is set in the California surfing community.
That's the one I want to read.
Oh, you'll love it. You'll love it. And both of those stories are Christian to the degree that if you've read them and you had a great time reading them and you get to the end of it and somebody says, that plot point actually reflects this verse in the Bible or that. But wow, it didn't hit me when I was reading it, but now that you pointed out, you're right.
In fact, in Goofy Foot Girl, Suki, who is the heroine, is Christian, but her father and her grandmother are Jewish, and she's half Japanese. And that even those choices reflect today's merger of families.
Right, absolutely. The multicultural, multi-ethnic.
It's
and
reality.
You really have to be, yeah, and you really do have to address it.
There are people that want to walk through life or stand around in life with their head in the sand.
Yeah.
They're not going to move too much, hopefully. You could either do that, or you can deal with what the reality of life is all about. We want to put up for teenagers, for kids, good stories, entertaining stories, inspirational stories, and they'll find the right way.
Right.
They'll find
I had one person say to me, do you have to have so many kids from divorced families in the story? And we went, well, unfortunately, that reflects the world these kids live in. And conversely, I've had youth ministers say, thank you for having so many divorced kids, because now they understand they're not alone.
Right. You don't sugarcoat it. You need to deal with the reality that kids face today. These are the situations. And you've done your research. I mean, you guys understand that in order to reach these kids, you need to write a character that is actually something they can relate to, that's relevant. Not in a pat answer relevant way, but truly is relevant. So, well, I'm so excited, and I'm looking forward to the other series that you have. Thank you so much for stopping by this afternoon, and I need to read number 5.
And number 6 will be available in September.
September, all right, and we'll be getting that one up on our site. And I'm going to hold this up for our viewers. This is Serenity, Bad Girl in Town, and I think you guys will be in San Diego in about 2 weeks for the Comic-Con.
2 weeks for Comic-Con.
I look forward to seeing you there.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And it looks like we'll be having another segment coming up, but thank you for watching this segment of Deeper Shopping, and we'll see you later.